Paper 3, Weimar and Nazi Germany, is 1 hour, 20 minutes, and you're going to be expected to answer 6 questions. You have question 1, which is 2 inferences. You'll either be given a photograph or a piece of text, and you'll be asked to make 2 inferences, 2 deductions about the text in relation to the topic the question asks. This is really important. Question 2 is the old explain why, which you will remember has been in paper 1 and also in paper 2. So question 1 is worth 4 marks. Question 2 is worth 12 marks. Question 3A is again our how useful. Exactly the same approach and method as paper 1, in that you're going to be given 2 sources and your job is to work out how useful they are. Remember, we do not talk about how they are not useful. We are only talking about how they are useful. Question 3B is difference between interpretations. Now this one is slightly different because you're going to need to highlight a key critical difference between the interpretations. Usually one of them is going to be overtly positive and one of them is going to be overtly negative in terms of their attitudes towards a given topic. Always worth reading through both and trying to work out which one is the positive and which one is the negative. You'll want to highlight key parts from the interpretations to illustrate how they are different. Now, question 3C is often confused and muddled with question 3B because this one is asking you why they might be different. Quite often people get these back to front. So this one is our old friend the mix and match, in which you use interpretation X goes with source A and interpretation Y goes with source B, for example. The final question, again, is our old friend, how far do we agree, but with a twist. Because this time, rather than being given a mere title topic, you're going to be asked how far you agree with either interpretation 1 or interpretation 2. And so you're going to need to talk through interpretation 1 and how you agree with it or disagree with it and illustrate it using your own knowledge, and then talk about interpretation 2 and your own knowledge. If you do it as a paragraph of interpretation 1 and then interpretation 2, and then you make sure that you really drive home your own knowledge in a more wider context, you really will be approaching the full marks on this one. There needs to be an explicit link, obviously, remember, of how far you agree, and remember, you really must use the interpretations that they give you. These are critical. In terms of timing, well, we've got 1 hour and 20 minutes and we're going to need to plan some questions. The only ones we need to plan this one are our old friend the explain why and the how far do we agree. Because if you look at the other marks, we are quite low in the mark scheme. These 2 are worth 28. So in terms of timings, we would be going for 5 minutes for question 1. We would be going for 20 mins for question 2. Tops, we would be going for 5 mins to 10 mins maybe for this one. We would be going for 5 mins for this one, 5 mins for this one, and 20 to 25 mins for this one. That's not going to give us a huge amount of time, but you can probably by now be able to knock and explain why out in 15 to 20 minutes, which will give you 5 mins spare. Ultimately, in terms of the order, we want to probably think about how we're going to deal with this. Now, the logical one to start with, I'd say, is question 2. Start here and rattle through this. Question 2, and then possibly I would do 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D. I appreciate that that doesn't leave us a huge amount of time if we're running low in terms of cutting potentially question 1 if needs be. But because this is built off the interpretations, it's a bit of a tricky one to try and work out what to do. Because remember, we are potentially going to need to know everything that we've got about the interpretations to answer this question. And logically, we might as well build through. This is one of the rare moments where we do not do the big question first. Instead, we're going to start here with the explain why and then rattle through these. This section here needs to be done in 20 minutes. It really does, because we can't afford to fall behind on the timing. I would say if at the moment you're getting beyond 15 minutes and we're yet to do 3C, I'd pause that one, go straight on to 3D, and then maybe come back and finish 3C. Read through the paper first, because if this seems an absolute gimme and the rest of it is a bit confusing, do that one first. But if it were me, I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.